Halfway to defeat.
And yet I'm still optimistic. Yeah!
Revenant.
Now this is where the tide turns. Come on fellows, have some of this. Oh, you think you can shoot me with a rifle? That's cute. Who sucks at this game now, eh? Oh, it's still me. What's up guys, Rogue9 here, and today I present you the Doom multiplayer beta. Considered to be a pioneering example of the 3D first-person shooter genre, or 3D games in general, the original Doom, released in 1993, represented a significant advance in video gaming. And now, on 13th of May 2016, a new Doom will be upon us, and yes, that's Doom, not Doom 4 or anything like that, because, well, I don't know, that's just what games developers do nowadays, isn't it? So, Doom it is, and in many ways, it's not just the name that feels like a blast from the past. The game's developers proudly proclaim that there is no taking cover or stopping to regenerate health, promising instead fast-paced arena-style combat. And having played both the closed and open betas, I can tell you that they're not exaggerating with these claims. The Doom 2016 multiplayer is very classic in its feel. Frantic, hectic, with rapid kills and even faster deaths. And the knowledge of the map's layouts, and especially where the pickups can be found, is essential to success. Apart from the blue health and yellow ammo pickups, there are green armor pickups, and if you want to survive more than 2 seconds in a firefight, these have to be your priority. Special weapons and demon runes that allow you to transform into a powerful demon are also spawned from time to time. The two game modes that we've been allowed to try out so far, Team Deathmatch and Warpath, are both team-based game modes. But I have to say that real team coordination is difficult. Everyone is constantly running around so fast and you die so quickly that any true coordination is, well, almost impossible. But then again, maybe that was just me. As you might have been able to tell by now, I was not particularly good at it. And that's not the only thing that expired. Anyway, apart from the features already mentioned, the game developers also promise an arsenal of futuristic and iconic guns. So why don't we take a quick look at what we've been shown so far. All weapons have a primary function, which is usually shoot, and a secondary function called the mod. First up, let's check out the heavy assault rifle. This fully automatic assault rifle with a digital scope is belt-fed, which would really make it more of a light machine gun than a heavy assault rifle, but let's not split hairs. Hold the right mouse button to enable the digital scope for extended range combat, and by enable they mean stick your eye to it and look through. This gun comes with a healthy supply of ammunition and a decent fire rate. Reloading is not really anyone's concern. I did mention this game is fairly classic, and this weapon just never needs to be reloaded. How does this work, you may ask? Well, my theory is that your Space Marine suit is fitted with special slots in the soles of the feet, so whenever you step on an ammunition upgrade, said ammunition is automatically transferred through your leg, up your body, through your arm, and into the gun, ready to shoot. Because future space technology. But back to the gun itself, what do I think of it? Well, having the opportunity to zoom in for a closer look at your enemies is useful, but maybe not so much in a game that is as frantic as this. I struggle to hit my enemies at the best of times, and zooming in does not make it any easier. As for the stopping power of the weapon, I have to say I am also not really convinced. Headshots can be quite useful if you can score any, but the standard body shot only causes 9 damage. And in a game where many weapons can just kill you in seconds, to me that's just not good enough. During the several hours of testing this game, I'm not even sure that I achieved a single kill with this weapon.
Demon room spawn.
Oh great, here we go. Yeah, enough of this. On to the next weapon. And here I introduce to you the plasma rifle. More of a submachine gun really than a rifle, this fully automatic weapon fires pulses of superheated plasma capable of dealing splash damage. The downside to this is that these orbs of energy fly somewhat slower than bullets, and they can be easily seen by the enemy so they can pinpoint your location. The secondary fire mode of this weapon, or weapon mod as they call it, shoots a plasma orb which detonates, creating a small area of burning plasma. Let's see it in action, shall we? Initially starting out with a charge of 100, you can pick up additional ammunition to charge this weapon to a total of 200 standard shots. Each plasma orb consumes as much energy as 10 standard shots, and it takes 10 seconds for the weapon to cool down sufficiently so that you can fire another orb. These orbs are of course not only more powerful than the standard shots, but they also create a lingering burning effect so that anyone who walks through this area will be damaged. Other than that, the weapon's stopping power, ammo supply and fire rate are fairly comparable to that of the assault rifle. Moving on. Here we have the game's rocket launcher. Surprisingly, it fires rockets that explode on impact, doing damage over a large area. This weapon's mod is a function that immediately detonates all live rockets currently in flight. That usually means one, since the rockets fly fast enough that by the time you shoot a second one, the first one has already impacted and detonated, so all live rockets is kind of redundant. You can explode your rockets in midair should you wish to do so. Let's check it out. As of this early gameplay, the rocket launcher is quite a favoured weapon. It's simple to use and does damage over a large area. I find this especially useful when I'm trying to hit enemy space marines that are bunny hopping through the arena like rabbits on speed. Just aim at their feet and at least you'll do some damage. The mod function of this weapon of exploding rockets mid-air could be really useful if you had a, let's say, cover-based shooter where enemies are behind solid cover and you need to explode the rocket just above and behind them. But that doesn't happen in this game, so I have to say that I've never found a useful application for this mod. Other than that, of course, the rockets fly quite slow, which means that if you're firing at long distance, the enemy might be able to avoid them, and also they'll be able to spot where you're shooting from. Those drawbacks aside, this weapon is easy to get into, easy to use, easy to understand, and probably great for beginners and noobs like me. Next gun, please. And it's the super shotgun, because why use a normal shotgun when you can use a super shotgun? This break-action double-barrel shotgun always fires both barrels at once for a wide spread of buckshot. As seasoned gamers would expect, this weapon is devastating at short range, but fairly useless at more than, let's say, 2 meters distance. But fear not, this weapon's mod tightens up the shot pattern for a more devastating effect. This will also provide you with a very slight zoom effect, while at the same time restricting your character's agility. The super shotgun. Super in situations where you can sneak up on your enemy from behind, not so super in some other situations. Here, let's have a look at how it fares at what I would call, let's say, medium distance. Okay, I have the sense to switch to the sniper rifle, switching back. Oh, what was that, like 6 meters, maybe 7, and I did 8 damage. At closer range, of course, the gun can fare somewhat better. With my sustained attack of sometimes hitting, sometimes missing, I have successfully managed to force this guy into a retreat. The problem I have now is that since this gun only has a maximum capacity of 12 rounds, and each pull of the trigger discharges 2, you have a maximum of 12 clicks before you're done. I got him though. Next gun, please. The VORTEX rifle is the sniper rifle of the game, a precision long-range energy weapon with a magnified optic. The right mouse button engages the mod of the weapon as always, which will in this case provide you with a magnified view while also charging up the power of the weapon for a more devastating shot. And as with many of the other weapons, I'm not quite sure that this mod really has a place in a frantic multiplayer such as the one for Doom. When everyone's running around like ants under a magnifying glass, zooming in for prolonged periods seems like a less than optimal tactic. Let's give her a spin, shall we? As you can see here, the time to charge the rifle while zoomed in is just about half a second, but with the restricted view that this offers you, it is impractical to maintain this charge. The initial load of the weapon is 12 shots, while the maximum capacity is 20. This, combined with the weapon's slow rate of fire, means that you really have to make every shot count. And of course, being a weapon especially geared for long-range combat, this gun is disadvantaged at shorter ranges. As you can see, effectively demonstrated by my inability to land even a single shot right here. The last two weapons remaining in the multiplayer test are somewhat more unique. Here we have the lightning gun. It is a short-range weapon that fires a constant stream of electricity. That kind of does a limited amount of damage. This weapon's mod creates an electrified field upon hitting a surface that can damage multiple targets. Sounds interesting? Let's see it in action. With an initial charge of 150 up to a maximum of 250, this weapon has plenty of ammo to spare, but as you can imagine, it is relatively weak with usual damage in the area of about 6 to 8. Having a steady stream of electricity though can make it easier to hit your enemies, especially if you're using the secondary fire mode. But don't expect to be able to ambush enemies and kill them quickly. With this gun, it will take you a while to kill your enemies. Ugh, enemy demon, I think it's time to get out of here. Yep, that's just about what I expected to happen. Fine, can we go now? And last but not least, we have the static rifle. The weapon's name suggests that it might be powered by an imbalance of electrical charges, something that you might end up with rubbing a balloon on your head. Or maybe it's those rubber-soled Space Marine boots that you're wearing, since when you stay in motion, this weapon gains more power, but standing still, it loses that power again. The weapon's mod is once again a zoom function. It's an interesting concept to have a weapon that forces you to keep running in order to maintain optimal power, as if this game didn't have enough people running around like crazy. Well, let's see how it fares. As you can see here, the weapon starts off with a modest charge of 12 shots. It takes exactly 4 seconds of constant movement for the weapon to reach its maximum power, and once fully charged, the weapon can do up to 60 points of damage to a regular enemy shot in the torso. That is, if you can hit them, of course. Nice hole I left in that pillar though. The fact that the best way to use this weapon is to charge it in between shots makes it quite a slow firing choice. And even if you choose not to charge the weapon, the rate of fire is quite limited, and given the limited ammo capacity, that makes complete sense. With a devastating first strike capability, the static rifle feels very similar to the sniper rifle. I mean, the VORTEX rifle, of course. Now, apart from the guns in the game, there are also, of course, an array of hand grenades. What is there really to say about these devices? Well, you throw them, they go boom. That's pretty much it. We have the standard Space Marine FRAG grenade, which explodes causing damage over a medium area. The SIPHON grenade, which causes slightly less damage, but takes that life energy and transfers it to the user. And then there is the personal teleporter. This teleporter will stick to any surface and allow the user to make a quick getaway should the need arise. Also, if there is an enemy standing over your teleporter as you teleport into it, you take up the space that he was once in, and he takes up the space all around you on the floor. Challenging to pull off for sure though. One of the more unique aspects of the game is that intermittently you can turn into a powerful demon. As of this test release, your choice is limited to the Yes, that's right, the Revenant. Thank you. This large and somewhat ugly creature comes equipped with a jetpack and a dual shoulder-mounted rocket launcher. A direct hit from these rockets is powerful enough to turn any enemy into instant mush. The demon's vision is similar to that of the Predator in that enemies light up red. Surely a helpful feature in the heat of battle. Oh, over so soon? Well, time to wrap up this impressions video with some final thoughts. Of course, I understand why the developers released a chunk of the multiplayer for public testing, since of course it will be this part of the game that will need some tweaking and balancing, and that in the end is normally the most important part of a public test, isn't it? As we have seen with the public tests of other games recently though, that's not the only aspect. A successful and fun public test can take a game that's been somewhat under the radar up until that point and make it a sensation, get people hyped up and interested for it. Certainly for me this was the case with The Division. A game that I'd kind of heard about but wasn't really all that interested in, suddenly became very appealing indeed just because I'd had a good time playing the beta. With a game like Doom though, I would expect, just from past games, that the meat of the game, the most appealing and interesting part, would be the single player campaign. Like with so many other games, the multiplayer has always been more of an afterthought and an add-on for Doom. And that's, I think, where this public test has kind of fallen down a bit. Yes, it might have been fun enough for a couple of hours, but I really don't think that it shows off what this game truly has to offer. Some of the most fun and iconic weapons have been left out. And we know that there's things like chainsaws coming because they're all over the trailers. Did this multiplayer experience turn people off and make them less interested in the game? Maybe. I for one am not really chomping at the bit to get my hands on this game. But what about you guys? Are you looking forward to Doom 2016? Feel free to leave a comment below. I'd be interested in getting your perspective. Other than that guys, as always, I hope you enjoyed this video and I will see you in the next episode.